Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna swatch all of my eyeshadows. So singles, including liquids, creams, palettes. I've also got all of my individual eyeshadows down here. We're just gonna do it all in one video. I thought about breaking it up, but I'm just not gonna do that. If you want to break this up and watch it in separate parts, awesome. If not, just put it on and enjoy. We're gonna get into some stuff here. I don't quite know where to start. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. We'll see. Okay, let me clear some of this stuff off and we'll get started with these guys. Okay, now that that's down to a more reasonably workable size. Oh crap, I am just out of it today, y'all. It's the darndest thing. Okay, so I think the first thing I want to tackle are these, and then we'll move on. So these are three of the Make Beauty multichromatic metal reflecting eyeshadows. I have Blaze, Gleam, and Glaze. So Glaze is this really beautiful champagne. It's translucent, so it just provides the nicest gleam. This is Blaze. This one I did not think I would like very much when I got it, and I have really been enjoying it. There we go. Zoom in just a little bit. And then Gleam is this like cool toned mauve. So we're going to swatch these. We're going to swatch everything in here, but I'm trying to maintain some level of control. So that is Glaze. It's a little bit warmer toned. It does have a bit of a warm undertone, which for some looks I really like, for some looks I don't. But if I want something that's sheer and shimmer and just glossy looking, this is perfect. And as Make Beauty always does, the pans are completely removable. I don't know if they've started just selling the pans by themselves, but if I was starting over from scratch, I would just buy the pan and not worry about the compact. Gleam, this is the first one I bought, and it's supposed to be pretty neutral, but on me, it comes off really cool toned. You can see there in comparison to Gleam or Glaze, Gleam. It comes off very dark and very purple. And that may just be a matter of me not having the right corresponding eyeshadows to bridge that gap. But I'm not getting rid of these. They are just really beautiful eyeshadows that are dependable, and I know where they are when I need them. That right there is the benefit. So last one is Blaze. So it's this copper, but it's like a red copper. It doesn't have a ton of orange in it, which I expected it to based on just the initial appearance of the pan. It's not an eyeshadow that I would normally have picked out for myself, but I really like it. And I like knowing it exists. I like knowing right where it is. I do kind of wish that these compacts were different colors. That would make this a little bit easier. I understand that because they're replaceable, but they put a sticker on the bottom and they don't. I wish Make Beauty would rectify this. They don't label the pan. So I put this in with I put Sharpie on the bottom, and then I go over it with a layer of clear nail polish to make sure that that label stays. But I do wish that they would put that printed label on the bottom of the pan as well as the compact. And that's kind of a universal wish for the rest of their products because their blushes and stuff aren't individually labeled either. All right, we're gonna pull out just the randomness. Okay, I think that's a good place to start. I want to give this Ulta Beauty Shadow a try because I pressed this recently in my hacking my makeup video, and I want to see how it swatches now that it's been pressed for a little while. It's not as flaky, it's not as difficult to work with, and it's really shiny. Oh my goodness. Okay. I am a lot more likely to reach for this now that it is so much easier to use. And with glitter glue or a primer, I'm willing to bet this would stay in place and I wouldn't get a ton of fallout like I would before this was repressed. All right, this guy, this is the Rowan Disco Eyes, and it's the strangest formula. It's meant to be like super sparkly, but it's got this really like thin layer. It is the weirdest formula. Now, I got this super cheap secondhand, so I don't know if this has just gone off or if it's been repressed or what the deal is, but I'm considering breaking this apart and pressing it lighter so that I can get more sparkle out of it, because I'm just not terribly pleased with where it is right now. That being said, I am going to keep it because it's something I want to play with. This, I don't know. This is from e.l.f. It's one of their new Finest Fleck glitter eyeshadows in White Heat. It's fine. It's got a nice amount of shine. It's got a nice amount of gleam. Maybe I'll hang on to it for a little while and see if I use it, because it's really pretty. You know what? No, I'm not going to keep this. I have so many spectacularly beautiful single eyeshadows. I don't need to keep this one. All right, so this is actually a highlighter from Copacetic. Copacetic Cosmetics is an indie brand. Their owner is just a lovely human being. I see her every year at the Polish and Beauty Expo in Chicago. This is their perfect glow highlighter in the shade Henna. And I haven't reached for it a lot this year, but I know it exists. I know it's there. And it's beautiful. It does have a lot of the same qualities as Gleam. It's got that same like cool undertone, but I feel like it's a mixture of these two colors, and it's so bright, it's so shiny, and I need to remember to use it. I remember it exists, and then I just kind of fan over it like, okay, no, I'll use something different. No, I need to use this more. Chantecaille. So this is one of the singles from Chantecaille. These things are like $65. This is the Zebra or the Zebra. It's rose gold. I don't know, y'all. If this is the formula that they come directly from the brand, I don't think they're worth it. Look at that. That is not what I would expect. And I have gone over this to make sure it doesn't have hard pan. I've gone over the layer with Scotch tape, but you can see as I work my finger in there to try and even pick up a swatch. Let's see what this does with a natural fiber brush. I discovered that stuff like this tends to work. So I am getting, but it's just not laying down anything that's terribly impressive. I did buy this second hand, I am wary to declutter it because I want to discover what all the hype is about. I want to continue playing with it, and I want to consider where I can take it with my ability to hack makeup. So if I have to, I can break it apart, I can repress it, and get this really beautiful color. Because I love the color of this eyeshadow, but I'm just not getting this spangly, spectacular color that I would expect from something that's this price point. So it's gonna stay, but it's gonna go in with like the Rowan Disco eyes, where they're gonna be like, these are the experimental, these are the ones that are going to be sacrificed to experiment on. All right, Phytosurgence. What do I need to say? What more do I need to say about Phytosurgence? They have really become one of my favorite indie brands. I mean, they always were, but they just continue to innovate. And I am excited to see what more they come out with. This is one of their flash fluorescence eyeshadows in the shade Astral Atmosphere. A lot of Phytosurgence products don't swatch well, including these eyeshadows, but they're absolutely beautiful when you put them on the eyes. They pick up nicely on a brush. I do like to use a primer or a glitter glue with this. I have heard this compared to Space Cowboy from Urban Decay, and I can see the comparison. I happen to like this one a little bit better. What's really nice is when you layer the two. This is actually a creme. This is from Ritual de Fille. This is one of their, oh, Nikes. Their Celestial Sphere Gelée Eye Gloss in the shade Apis, APIS. This is really, really pretty. This is the kind of shine and finish that I would have expected from the Chanticleer. I hear other people pronounce brand names differently just for fun, and then my brain picks it up. But look at that. It's smooth, it's even, it spreads nicely, it's got a nice sheen. It's not super sparkly or shiny, so I could, in theory, take one of these lightly and tap it over. That could be fun. But yeah, these are beautiful. I'm interested in trying their other formula, the eye soot, I think is what they're called, the powder formula, as opposed to the cream. All right, Hourglass, JD Glow, Hindash. Let's start with, let me clean my arm off. So we're gonna, I don't know what to do with this. I don't use it. I've had it a while. It's dried up a bit. I might just declutter it, but like, look at how bright and pretty that is now that it's dried up a bit. Look at that. This is one of the liquid Lurex in Cressida, and I've had this for a while, and it's a lot of the liquid is dried up, but that's left this really beautiful. Oh, okay. I guess the question at hand is, why don't I use this more? And this may be one that would actually last underwater. I've been swimming a couple times a week, and part of that has been like testing makeup to see what lasts. That's so pretty. I've got to remember to use this. It's so pretty. It's so easy. Ugh. And while we're doing liquids, let's do Boy Tears from Hindash. I have in the past added a little bit of Duraline to this because it felt like it was drying up. And it might need another drop or two because it's feeling just a bit thin. in that it's not carrying the amount of sparkle that it usually does. However, both of these are liquid eyeshadows that go on super easily and take no effort. So why don't I use them? Why don't I use them? This is why I go through the trouble of swatching everything before I think about decluttering. All right, this is my MAC paint pot in Painterly. It's not going anywhere. Again, I've had it a long time and it does the job. It's a primer that's a little deeper than my eyeshadow, my eye itself, and it helps things stay in place. It helps things get a good grip. And I never know where to store this. Do I store it with my single eyeshadows like I usually do? Do I store it with my primers? Do I put it with my mascaras and eyeliners? Where do y'all store your eyeshadow primers? Because I am at a loss as to where to store this because I keep forgetting about it. Victoria Beckham Beauty. This is like one of 3 pieces of her makeup that I have. All of them have been purchased secondhand. So this is one of her lid lusters in Tea Rose. It's so pretty. It reminds me, if you saw my makeup hack video, it has a lot of the same qualities as that highlighter that I broke apart, but it's much more skin native and much more skin tone friendly, especially on me. Okay, Hourglass. I have 2 of the scattered lights here. This one is Ray. It's the first one I bought, and it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite single eyeshadows. I do remember it exists and I do use it. But looking at it in comparison to Tea Rose, they have the same base note, but Tea Rose has more of a gold sparkle, whereas Ray has more of a silver. And I think that's what makes the difference between wearing them. I tend to reach for Ray because it's a little easier for me to pull off. I have not used the Victoria Beckham a lot, but I need to make that a priority going forward in the new year, is to use that more. But Ray isn't going anywhere. Rapture, I think Rapture might be on the chopping block. It's lovely. Do not get me wrong here. It is bam. It is wow, wham, bam, gorgeous. But I don't use it. I don't think of it. I kind of forget that it exists. So I think it would be beneficial for me to maybe put this up for sale on Mercari or Poshmark and pass it along to someone who will remember that it exists and will enjoy it. So thank you for your service, but we are going to pass you along. And this was one of the last purchases I made from JD Glow before they went out of business. This is one of their loose eyeshadows in the shade Status Quo. I don't love things in this delivery mechanism because they're so loose and they're so shiny. So what I may try and do is press this. I may try and press this into a pan because it's gorgeous, but it makes such a mess, and the risk for glitter fallout is just so high. This is a very high risk shadow. But you know what? I'm sitting here looking at this color and it's so gold forward. I don't like the way gold looks on my eyes. So I might, again, put this up for sale online and sell it to somebody who will enjoy it and use it and appreciate it for what it is, instead of just like a thing to hold on to from a brand that no longer exists. Okay. This is everything I'm keeping. I got rid of 3, which I'm more than happy with that. More than happy. I didn't know if I was going to honestly declutter anything. I think we're going to skip right to palettes and then we'll do the rest of my singles. So this palette is technically singles, but I'm looking at it as a whole unit because I'm not going to declutter just one eyeshadow from here. These are all of my eyeshadow palettes. This collection has grown to the point where I feel like it is bursting at the seams and I need to make some declutters and not just set stuff aside to depot it. I need to work on decluttering as well as focusing on those items to depot. So let's go through these. I'm not even going to sort them. We're just going to take from the pile. All right. So first one up is Pat McGrath. This is the Venus and Fleurs Luxe Quad Voyeuristic Vixen. This was a anniversary present from an ex-boyfriend. And while I got rid of the boyfriend, I'm keeping the palette. This shade right here is one of my favorites for inner corner. This is one of the most neutral, natural bedroom eyes, sultry browns. It's just so easy. And I intentionally don't have any other singles that are this multi-chrome shifty because I know that this one's gorgeous and nothing else could top it. So this palette does have a lot of benefit to my makeup collection and I'm going to keep it. This little love, this is the Mood Forever Quad from Rowan. I love this eyeshadow palette. I had hoped to at least hit pan on all 4 shades before the end of this year. I don't know that that's going to happen. This one's got a little more thickness to her, but that's okay because it's still perfectly functional. I know how this palette behaves. I know how these shadows work, and I am so comfortable with them. I don't see a reason to declutter this palette. What do I do with this? What do I do with this? I really love the kitsch, okay? I normally don't like palettes that revolve around kitsch or nostalgia or are just there for the lulls. This one I really like, but I have the feeling that my makeup collection is just so, my eyeshadows specifically are so swamped at this point that I just don't see this. So I'm wondering if I keep it and I keep it intact. I know there's a couple palettes here I'm going to declutter. That's going to open up some space and I'm going to actually see things more clearly. So I'm going to hold on to this. I'm going to keep it intact. I do really enjoy it. And it's the Thai palette. So it makes me like nostalgic and Brittany Murphy and like Clueless was such a integral part of my youth. It came out when I was in middle school. And so this little thing just makes me smile. So I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it intact. And we'll see where we are in 6 months. Maybe I'll do a 6-month follow-up. All right. So this is the NARS Ignited palette. And I'll tell you, I really thought this was going to be great. I thought this was going to be something super special, super spectacular, very bright. And they're fine. Like the eyeshadows are perfectly fine, but I just don't use them. I just don't use them. So I am going to send this one packing. And while we're sending palettes packing, I think Summer Unrated is also going to get the boot. This is lovely, but I can't travel with it because as you see here, the shadows kind of pop out of their wells. The mattes are really pretty. I have a hard time doing anything but a warm crease with a little bit of pink, and this shimmer is the most spectacular shimmer in this palette. This is fine. It comes off a little more orange. This is meh. I think I got more roped into the hype and finding one of these used for the price that I did, even though it was a year after this palette was released. So I am also going to send this one on its way. Makeup by Mario. You couldn't pay me to get rid of this. I haven't been reaching for palettes much this year. I've been reaching for maybe a shade out of a palette or a little quad like the Rowans. But this palette is just incredibly utilitarian. And I'm kind of sad to hear that his follow-up to this crapped out, but it really does push me out of the FOMO phase of like, okay, I didn't need that. I don't need it. I have this and it's gorgeous and I want to use it more, which is why I'm culling other things, but Mario's gonna stay. I will tell you, up until this past weekend, I thought I was going to depot this. This is one of the Pat McGrath holiday palettes, the Celestial Nirvana eyeshadow palette in Nude Allure. I honestly thought I was going to depot this and declutter a couple of these, but I took this with me out of town when I went to a drag show last weekend, and it came in so clutch. I originally put like this white shade all over my lid and it wasn't working with the eyeliner I did, and I was able to cool it down or warm it up with the peach and a little bit of the bronze. Used a touch of this and it saved the day. Reignited my love for this little 5-pan. So she's gonna stay and she's gonna stay intact. I realize I gender my makeup. That's my choice. It's fine. Again, one that I haven't really reached for, but that has been on my mind because I've been using my other little Rowan quad, and I know that this one is there. This is the Eyes on Me. And I tell you, this sparkle is, it's incredible. For a cream shadow that's in a pan to be that sparkly and that easy to use. This just makes my eyes glow. It makes them glow and gleam like a cat. Okay, now I want to put this all over my eyes. Again, this is why we play the game. This is why I get my fingers in my makeup again, because I haven't touched this palette in a while. And I'm suddenly reminded why I loved it in the first place. And it's nice and small. It's easy to travel with. It's easy to put in my everyday makeup bin. And it's creams. It's things that I can smear on with my fingers, and it's intended to look a little messy, a little bit more worn in. All right, this is, she's not going anywhere. This was a 40th birthday present from a dear, dear friend, and I do love this palette. I love this palette so much. It does indeed live in my Makeup Mind Palace as like my super special palette. If I'm partying and I want something super glamorous, and shiny, I know that this palette exists. And if you saw my super sparkly eyeshadows video, you'll see, you saw what we did with these guys, mixing them with a little bit of water, and they just become molten. Absolutely stunning. I like the mattes in here a lot. I do have a little bit of a problem with these two shades because despite being different formulas, for some reason they tend to end up looking a little bit similar on my eyes. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the way I'm using them. Maybe it's the things I'm surrounding them with. I don't know, but I'm keeping it and I'm going to continue playing with it and using it and loving it and enjoying it. And I will think of Carrie every time I use this palette. This is another NARS palette. This is the Afterglow Irresistible. This one just came out this year and is the worst to open. I have been pushing the little prong on the front backwards a little so it doesn't take as much effort to close or open. This has left me in a bit of a quandary because it doesn't feel like I can do complete looks with it. It feels like a palette that I need to work with instead of it working for me. And I really like it. I love this color story. This like burnt rose shade. And that one's a little ashier than I would normally like. I tend to really enjoy NARS mattes. And it may be that the back of my hand is wet from makeup remover. But I do like this palette when I use it. So I think I'm going to keep this. I'm going to hang on to it because it's going to be my only NARS palette that's left. I've gotten rid of the other two. And so it'll have more of a presence in my life. Okay, this is, I believe this is from last year. I like these little 5 pans by Pat McGrath. I understand that they're not the same formula, but I also don't pay $35 for them. I wait until after the holiday until they're on sale. And then I got this one buy these for $15. This is an entire eye look in one palette for me. In fact, it's multiple eye looks. So this, again, eminently useful, very utilitarian, very easy. And these are the colors that I love and I look best in. So it's gonna stay. This is the Bijou Brilliance eyeshadow palette in Sunset Romance. I don't love the packaging. It's a little hard to open, but I do in fact love the eyeshadows inside. Oh, my dream, my dear, my love. If you saw my journey with the Natasha Denona, what was it called? Soft Glam? No, I don't remember the name of the palette, but I bought a palette during the Sephora sale last year and I hated it. It was just too cool toned for me. It didn't work. And then I bought this one online and all of a sudden the angels were singing, everything came together. It just made sense. And I have continued to love and use this palette as well as its individual eyeshadows. It's just absolutely beautiful. So no, it's this shade Serenity. Oh my God. I never thought that one eyeshadow would just be so pretty. But this is just that beautiful, sultry, smoky, one and done. I can blend it all the way up into the crease. And the fact that it's a satin, it doesn't reflect a whole lot of light. So it's not glaringly obvious. You know, this shimmer, I mean, come on. Even this orange, I used this in a rainbow palette. This, that one, I love the mattes in this palette. Even these creamed powder shadows, I like them. I like the way they work with this palette. I don't think I have ever met a palette that I have jived with and vibed with as much as I have with this palette. And I'm honestly looking at some of these other palettes, like let's do some side-by-side comparison here. Because this palette has everything I wish this one had. And that means this is the NARS Afterglow Irresistible. This is going to get decluttered as well because I have this. Wow, that was a surprise. That was unexpected, but it felt good. It felt really good. it'll allow the palettes that I really love to get more play. And that's what this is all about. Hindash. So this is the monochromats. I have not used this much, but when I do use it, I'm really grateful I have it. Doesn't take up much space. It's got a lot of really useful, like these gradients are so good. They're so helpful for building a realistic eye look that maybe I would not have started with a grubby mustard. But because I have one in this palette, I am more than happy to turn back to it. This palette both affirms and pushes my boundaries. It's one of the reasons I like it. It's one of the reasons I like it a lot. Now, am I tempted to look to buy the first palette? Not really. No. I like how different this palette is from that one. Mr. Hindash can stay. And then we have my amalgam of Natasha Denona shadows. Some of these are like hitting the end of their life, or maybe not. I mean, that shadow is gorgeous. It always was. Purple. I mean, I can't really argue with any of these. They have this really special quality. They're just bulletproof, easy to work with. I know that when I go to do a rainbow palette that I have that red. This orange to pink shimmer, I have nothing negative to say. And that's unusual for me. I think this orange is maybe starting to go off. It's a little flaky, but you use glitter glue, you use a natural fiber brush, it'll be fine. I really love these mats, especially these two. They get a lot of play as well as this one. This one I thought I would finish earlier, baby. Like last year. Say my name. It's just kind of sat there because I don't use a white eyeshadow. I tend to use my face powder. That being said, all of these shadows are going to stay. All right, y'all, it's time. I do think I want to swatch most of these. But of all of my makeup this year, these have all gotten a really good amount of play, which makes me happy. But I know that there are some in here that I just don't reach for, and I'd like to get those moving, get those out while I have some space to move things around. It's getting a little cramped in here. Let's start, where are we starting? Let's start with these tiny little guys, because yeah, where's my... Okay. 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 I think this is a good place to start. There's a lot of these, and a lot of them are mattes, and a lot of these are shades that I just don't reach for. So out of these, the ones that really stand out as ones that I want to keep, this bronze that I have pan on, because it's a cool toned bronze with this silver reflect. Yeah, there's a bronze. It's really pretty. It's an easy shadow for me to use, and I have pan in it, so I have no reason to not keep it. This is just a wackadoo kind of shadow. I don't really think I have anything else that compares to it. It's got this really interesting sheen. It's got that like red green thing, but it's just so much more, like, comparatively, the color is more sedate, but it's got a lot of shine, and I love that about it. This is just like super starry-eyed, easy to use shimmer. It's easy, it's beautiful, it's simple. These three could go into a palette and I would be more than happy to use that over and over again. This taupe, I tell you, I have developed an appreciation for a nice, mild taupe. It's not too brown, it's not too gray, but it does the job of creating a crease. This mauve is, again, another very easy skin native matte shadow. When I'm building a palette of singles, something like this is always helpful to blend out the crease, even just put all over the lid. Simple, easy, really pretty. Now, as for the rest of these, so if you saw my hacking my makeup video, you will have seen that I repressed this. I broke it apart from the original pan and I repressed it. And I don't think it did any good because it's still pretty hard to work with. It's not that it's bad, it's just that it doesn't do what I want it to do. And I don't know that repressing it would even have done that. So I'm going to go ahead and kick this one. Same with this one. I mean, I love the idea of having a really sparkly purple lavender that's this like iridescent and shiny. But again, I don't reach for it and it's taking up space so it can go. Same with this gold. I don't reach for golds. I don't reach for yellows. I think I keep it around so that I can, you know, have a yellow in my rainbow palettes. But what's the point of having a shadow if I never use it? Not even when it's in my rainbow palettes. This one, I don't know. It's like a green toned bronze. Okay, it's really beautiful. But the fact that it's been in my single eyeshadows this long and hasn't gotten much play tells me that it's not going to get play in the future. It's not going to get used. It's just going to sit there and be neglected. This very much reminds me of another ColourPop single that I have. And this may be a case of I overlook it because I have so many other things surrounding it that I don't see it. So this will go ahead and get put back in with my single shadows instead of decluttered, in the hopes that having fewer singles will allow me to focus on what I have. I don't know why I have a dark brown in here, because I have a dark brown in my Natasha Denona palette. Don't need to keep this. Same with this orange. I don't use orange. It's just not a shade that works particularly well with my coloring. This is more like a burnt umber. No, it's streaky. And again, look at these look at the tops of these. Like, they don't get used. So what's the bloody point in keeping them? All right, let's talk about these last 5. I don't know. I'm tempted to keep like this neutral desaturated peach, but why? Why? Okay, that actually is a little bit of a warmer shadow that I am comfortable keeping. Oh, what is this, more like an ecru? No. Like I said, I don't really use shadows like this anymore because I use my face powder. This is like that grungy green bronze that I want to wear. I want to use this. And I don't think I have anything like it in my palettes. There's something similar to it in Utopian Dreams. This may be another case of if I clear out the gunk and I clear out all the rest of the junk, will I see this and will I use it? I guess that right there is the question that needs to be answered, but I'm going to hang on to it because I do like it. It's a bit of a grungier shadow for my tastes, but I like having something like this that pushes my boundaries. I don't think this purple's gonna stay. Don't get me wrong. I love purple eyeshadow. I love the way it looks on me, but I just don't go for looks like this. Not on a regular basis. And if I need a purple eyeshadow, I have them. So out of that group, I have kept 8, getting rid of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice. I am feeling the ruthlessness. All right. Some of these are blushes and highlighters. I'm going to pull these out too, because I think it might be time for some of them to go away. All right. I want to pull out, I just want to separate the like eyeshadows and the blushes because honestly, I can see this one staying. This is from Lorac. This was from their, this was from a palette they did with the live action Disney Beauty and the Beast. I didn't love that movie, but I love this blush. And again, clearing out the chaff is going to leave me with the really good stuff. So I think this is going to stay. Yeah, it's going to stay. I then have some highlighters here. So this I saved. I depotted the Rach Loves and Pixie highlighter palette. I don't know if anybody else remembers that, but these are like glass skin like highlighters. And because they live in my single shadows, I don't remember that they exist. I don't remember to use them and they have fallen out of favor. So that's going to get decluttered. That one's being saved. This is a highlighter that at the time I got it, I loved it. This is Hot Sand, which NARS does not make anymore. I got this in a mini set along with NARS Rita, which is one of my favorite red lipsticks. It just, I really love the undertone of this highlight. It's a little bit more sedate, it's a little more subdued, but I don't reach for it. I don't use it. I think of it occasionally and I'm like, oh, hey, I should use that. And then I don't. So it's going, it's going to get the chop. Again, this is from a NARS palette that I depotted. And it's just, I don't know if it's gone off or what the deal is, but it's going to go. This one, I'm having a hard time deciding. This is from the Balm. And I need to see what the texture looks and feels like. It doesn't have any bumps, which is great. It doesn't smell weird. And it's a really beautiful brown neutral blush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside, and at a later point in time, I will pull out all of my brown blushes and compare them to each other, and all of my pink blushes and so on and so forth. So that if this is like eerily similar to any of my Make Beauty blushes, any of my NARS blushes, I'll make the decision what to do then. But this can stay for now. The texture is nice, the color's really pretty, and it's not one that I'm ashamed to own and enjoy. This one is also from the Balm. I don't know if it's a blush or a highlighter or a bronzer, but it's starting out streaky and it's also a bit orange. It's gonna go. I don't reach for it. I don't reach for it. I don't use it. I don't remember that it exists unless I open up that palette and then I see it and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should use that, and I don't. So what's the bloomin' point? All right, this is one that I've loved for a long time. This is from Model Co., which I believe is a British brand. This is Peach Bellini. and it still feels really smooth. I've had this for a long time. It's probably long expired, but I mean, look at that. This is a better version of NARS Orgasm. But again, I think of it, I see it, and I don't use it. So it's going to go along with everything else. I am literally just absolutely ruthless today. Let's pull out these shadows from Flower Beauty. I believe I have 4 of them. That's a knob. This is a Nobla shadow that I do think of and I reach for and I use quite a bit. This is Artemisia. It's a matte. It's a matte eyeshadow from Nobla. It's just so smooth. It's so smooth. And it is starting to get a little patchy. So I'll have to see how it works when I actually put it on my eyes with a brush. But I am going to hang on to it. All right, I think we've got enough space for these 4. These aren't going anywhere. I love these 4 eyeshadows. That's the reason I've kept them. I have saved these 4 out of 12. I had 2 6-pan palettes that I depotted, and these are the 4 eyeshadows that rose to the top. So I think this was from the Desert Lights, and it is just the most beautiful, shiny, burnt peach tone that looks so good on me. I love the shadow. I think about it. I do use it. It does go in magnetic palettes when I build singles palettes. So it is definitely going to stay. This red, oh my goodness, this beautiful strawberry red that I have pan on. Look at that. I have pan. And it is just, it's this warm toned red strawberry color. And I love it. I love it so much. This brown is honestly, it's super dense and very pigmented. It's really rich. You don't need much. And that's one of the things I like about it. It's also a satin, so it blends out easily. And it's got this really beautiful red base, which does not turn orange on me. I find that so many warm toned browns just look orange when I try to blend them, and it's just not what I'm looking for. I really like this brown, and it still works. It's still got all of its, you know, all of the qualities that I love it for. It has not diminished. And this is another silvery, sparkly purple mauve shade with just the prettiest reflect. I honestly love this eyeshadow. So yeah, all 4 of those from Flower Beauty are going to stay. Okay, so let's do these first because they're the big ones. And I think a couple of these are gonna go. The ones that are not moving anywhere are these 3. So this is Sin, Unexpected, and Moscato. These are all from JD Glow. They're not available anymore. I don't care. They're all staying. This is my favorite eyeshadow of all time. And it makes my brain just go to mush. It's such a unique eyeshadow and it's so sparkly. It can be worn by itself. You can layer it on top of other stuff, or I can layer it on top of other stuff. Mine has been repressed because I've used it a lot, and it's staying. This is an integral part of my makeup life. Again, JD Glow Sin. One of those shadows that you look at and your brain kind of, well, my brain melts. I know there's a purple base in there and I can kind of see it, but I also see a lot of shine, a lot of gleam. Oh, really, really beautiful quality eyeshadows. And it's just an absolute shame. We need to do a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe, something to get this brand back up and running, because they gave so much to the makeup universe. And this is Moscato. Again, it's not got the same shine, but it's not supposed to. It's more of a satin. However, it's really easy to use, bulletproof, lovely, lovely eyeshadow. All right, these three I am a little more skeptical. This is Macaroon, again from JD Glow. I have had this shadow for a long time, a very long time. It's a little more densely packed than its brethren. I don't use it. It does not find its way into my mind palace. I mean, I remember I have it and I see it, and my brain knows that I should use it, and then I don't. It's the same reason I got rid of Rapture from Hourglass, because it just didn't get used. So who knows? Maybe after not having it in my everyday makeup stash, I'll think about it and pull it out of my decluttered eyeshadows, unless I just put it up for sale and send it to somebody who will enjoy it. This is a highlighter from JD Glow called Essence. And again, it was one of those situations where they were going out of business, and I wanted to give them as much startup capital as possible for their next venture, but I just don't reach for this. I don't use it as an eyeshadow. I don't use it as a highlighter. And with the brand being out of business, I'm sure there is someone out there who will get a lot of joy and a lot of use out of this. So we're gonna send it on to the next realm. This, I don't know. This is Peachy Keen. It's one of their Galaxy shadows, and it does that thing that so many iridescent and multi-chrome shadows do, which is it just turns green. And I don't know. I just don't use it. And I want to keep single eyeshadows that I use and that I'm going to enjoy, and let the ones that I'm not using go, despite sentimentality, despite, love of brand. I want to send this on to someone who will enjoy it. All right, we're going to do a speed run of some of these mattes. So again, if you saw my last video, I depotted the Urban Decay Stone Vibes palette, and I decided to keep these 4 mattes because they worked really nicely. They're smooth, they're even. I really like this purple. It's got just this hint of taupe, and it's not too gray and it's not too blue. So I'm going to keep these. I haven't really put them through the ringer. I have not put them to the test, and I want to give them that chance. Snowberry from Nabla. This is one I've had for a while. You can see it's got a good dip, and it's a nice, easy to use, mid-toned pink with a hint of mauve. Yeah, this is a My Eyes But Better, I guess, if we're comparing it to lips. The My Lips But Better the My Lips But Better lipstick. This is a My Eyes But Better eyeshadow. This little guy, I believe, is from ColourPop, and I think I'm gonna pass him on. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the other one that I did decide to keep. So, and this one has more gold in it than that, so this is gonna go. This one also, it's just a matte white. It's from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I'm sure it's fine. I don't care. Luxie, this is Misfit. Misfit has become one of those that I do reach for for, you know, weird color stories in magnetic making, you know, single palettes, all of that stuff. So that one can stay as well. Okay, so these are the 5 shadows that I decided to keep from the Urban Decay Stone Vibes palette. And I kept these on the basis of not having anything else that was this like on the nose. And they're small shadows. They don't take up much space. I That is so unexpectedly bright. It doesn't look like it's going to be that bright, but when you really dig in there, woo, I like it. This is one of those that feels like the green one that I repressed. It feels like it's just sealing itself over, and I don't have the time or energy to deal with that. This green actually very much matches my nails. And again, I kept it because it is just like so green. This would be great to wear with a red lip for the holidays. And this one, like, I depotted it. I did not think I was going to keep it. And then I swatched it. It does that thing. It makes my brain turn to jello. So these are all staying. Okay, nice little puddle of very sparkly, shiny eyeshadows. All right, let's start with some of these deeper, like purpley shades. Sure, we'll start there. I like this shadow. I've had it a long time. It still feels really smooth and even. I'm not detecting any weird texture in the pan. Yeah, I still think of it. I don't use it as much as I would like to, but I know it exists. I know how it performs. And again, getting rid of a lot of the chaff will allow me to appreciate things like this more. This is Thorny from Luxie. And it's kind of this gunmetal gray. I'm not using it. I'm not going to. I don't tend to go for stuff that's that gray. Now this is different. This is barbecue baked beans from Copacetic. And it is kind of gray, but it's also got this that red to green thing. It's got that red base with this smoky, smudgy green shimmer, and I like it. I like how weird it is. And it just I like knowing it exists. And I hate baked beans. But I like this eyeshadow. The Monarch. This is another one from Luxie that I just look, I put it on my arm and it makes my eyes go twinkly stars. But in reality, it's just too orange. And it's not like this kind of orange that I can actually get away with. It's like this deep, deep orange that just feels like it's right in the pocket of things that I don't reach for. So it's gonna go. This one is from the Kaja Bento Trio, the Orange Blossom, and it's gonna stay. This is Mr. Sandman from ColourPop. This is a replacement of a pan that I had that went bad. So I replaced Miser and I replaced Mr. Sandman. And no regrets. No regrets. It's one of those shadows that I can throw into a lot of different palettes. This one feels very timely. It's called As the World Falls Down. It's from Copacetic. Look at that. Look at it. Look at it. It's so shiny. and fractal and like particulate. I love this shadow. It's funky and weird and sparkly and different. And this is what we need more of in the makeup industry. This is from Kaja. It does kind of the same thing that As the World Falls Down does, but it's much more subdued and it's a little more gold. And I think that may be why I don't reach for it very much. I think about it, I know that it exists, but something stands in my way from using it. So I am going to send it on its way to a home where I think it'll get more use. This shadow, this from ColourPop, is called Liar Liar. This is why I did not keep that e.l.f. single and why I decided not to keep it and depot it, because I have something so similar and I honestly think this one's better. It's smoother. It's not trying to be something that it's not. It knows exactly what it is. It does it nicely. It stays in its own lane. And that I can really appreciate. Another one from Luxie. This is Rockstar. This is a weird shadow and I like it. I mean, it doesn't look weird, but it's this like sparkly lime green shimmer with a dark green base. And I'll tell you, on my green eyes, this eyeshadow, it's magic. It's magic. Speaking of magic, this is one of my first singles. It's also one of the first ones that I ever depotted, which is why the edge of the pan is all bent. But this is Lounge from Urban Decay. And I don't know that I'll ever be able to declutter this. It's been discontinued, which breaks my heart because it is so smudgy and beautiful. It's got that weirdness that I love and appreciate in makeup. So it's definitely not going anywhere. Let's put it that way. Speaking of Urban Decay, this is Space Cowboy. And it is that just sheen. It's that wet shine that just looks natural and gleamy and gorgeous. This one I may actually kick. This is Polar Bear from Luxie. No, Sydney Grace. And the reason that I'm okay getting rid of it is because I'm trading it out. I'm trading it for that really rich blue that I decided to keep from the Urban Decay Stone Vibes palette. So this one can go. My goodness, my table's a mess. So these are more singles. I'm just going to go in and pull out like these blues and some of these purples, and we'll start with those and then we'll move on. So this is ColourPop. This is Wishful Winking. So far, it is the closest dupe that I have found to Lounge. And after Lounge goes off or goes bye-bye, I will have this to hold on to. No, it's a great little eyeshadow. I'll hang on to it. This I find surprisingly useful, and it may be because it's the only one that I have that's this color. This is Aura from Luxie, and it is this bright teal. I don't use bright teal that often, but I like knowing that I have one pan of a bright teal eyeshadow in my collection so that when I want a bright teal, like if I'm doing a rainbow palette or I'm putting together a palette of shadows that are pushing my boundaries, I've got this guy and I really, really like it. I like the formula. The consistency is nice and smooth. It doesn't give me any trouble blending. I have no reason to not keep it. Oh, alas. Okay, so this is Transmutation. Yes, this is Transmutation from Copacetic. And like, this is pretty new. I think I've had it less than a year. I want to say I bought it at the Polish and Beauty Expo last July. And it hasn't gotten a whole lot of use, but that's because it's been surrounded by stuff that I'm not using and it's kind of gotten overshadowed. So again, I'm going to keep it. These two, I don't know. I don't know. They're both from Copacetic. This is Missy. No, I'm not going to keep that. I don't use it. And if I've had it this long and I don't use it at this point, then it's going to go. This is Farmer's Market. Whoa, okay. Talk about being overshadowed. I really like that. And I don't remember the last time I touched this eyeshadow. So again, the reason I go through and I touch my makeup and I swatch my makeup is for this very reason. To rediscover that which I have forlorn. Okay, I believe this is the topper from one of the Auric Smoke Reflex, and I'm not gonna keep it. I saved it in case I thought, oh, I'll use it on its own. No, I don't. This is another one from Copacetic. This is Kiss Me. And it's this beautiful pink, orange, shifty shadow that I know it exists. I see it in my palette and my brain doesn't go for it. So we're gonna work on that. Painted Lady by ColourPop. Hang on. I seem to remember saving one that is very similar. Painted Lady is a little bit darker. Whereas this one's a little brighter. Okay. That was what I needed to know. I am going to keep this one. It's a bit deeper and it's just a different texture. This is one of those from the Orange Blossom Trio from Kaja. Can we see a theme? Variations on a theme. And you know what? I'm okay with having variations on a theme. I'm okay with having shadows that are peach and nude and light orange and that have different textures. That's fine. As long as I remember that they're there and I remember to use them. JD Glow, this is Urgent. It very much reminds me of Clionadh Kiln. It's either Kiln or Forge. Those had a very deep black base that I didn't like. This is slightly less deep. It's a very smoky, smudgy, beautiful shadow. And I do really like the texture. It's weird because what you're seeing is purple and what I'm seeing is more of like a green-based red. It's interesting, that multi-chrome, the multi-chrome mischief. All right, this is Dragonfly, again from ColourPop. Oh, that is I don't use it. I don't use it. I have in the past, and part of me wants to hang on to it and see if it is something that will get use in the future. Maybe I'll listen to that little voice in my head because I'm very much trusting my instincts today, and my instincts are telling me to hang on to this. All right, this is the little pan that I kept from that highlighter that I repressed and messed with from Sydney Grace. It's brand new. I've barely used it. It's gonna stay and I'm gonna play with it. All right, we've got two more of these eyeshadows from Copacetic. So we've got Enchantment. These are both that very crushy, really pretty, but here's the thing about both of these. I have them. I know they're there. I don't use them. I don't use them. And at this point, if I haven't used them, I'm not going to. Obsessed. This is from Luxie. I seem to remember going through Luxie's site and just wanting to get a bunch of their neutral eyeshadows. Well, that is a neutral eyeshadow. And I do like it. It's new enough that it really hasn't imprinted on my brain. So I'm going to give it a chance to do just that and not push it out of push it out of the nest so early. This is Kaja, I got like 3 of the bentos and I depotted them all. And I love that. It's a little smoldery, smoky, raisin, all of that beautifulness. All right, so I think I pulled out what, 15? 7? We're cruising. All right, you know what? I think we're gonna do the rest of this palette. I've got 15 more to do down here. And then we'll save my Clionadh shadows for tomorrow. I thought I was going out of town, but I have not heard from my friend. So I'm going to presume that that has been canceled. And we will find another time to hang out. If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended. That you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear, and this weak and idle theme no more yielding than a dream. Gentles, do not reprehend. If you pardon, we shall mend. As I am an honest puck, we have unearned luck, ne'er escape the serpent's tongue. Else the puck a liar call. Give me your hands if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends. Didn't know you were going to get Shakespeare along with your eyeshadows. Okay, I have a bunch of like this tone, this like raisiny cranberry tone, and I really want to focus on like maybe culling some of these down. I don't know. That's why we're here. I'm pretty sure most of these, I have 1 or 2 that are actually round shadows from Clionadh that were a little holiday trio, and I want to keep those. This is Sydney Grace, In It to Win It. I don't remember buying this. I might have gotten it in a like mystery box. It's not dissimilar from something that I already have. So I am going to pass it along. This one I'm pretty sure is from Kaja. Their matte formula is silky and smooth. And it blends out really easily. So that one's gonna stay. This is another Kaja, and their shimmers tend to either be really thin, like this one, or they tend to be pretty packed with color, but okay, I like those. I like them both very much, and I'm hoping that they will get some more play in my future makeup using life. Okay. These two eyeshadows are practically the same. So now I need to decide, am I going to keep one over the other? How do they build up? Honestly, I think I like the one that's a little more subdued because then I can build it up and I can layer stuff on top of it, whereas this one's just like glitter forward, and I'm going to pass it. All right, let's go ahead and swatch these. I am keeping them. This is Timber. Yeah, it's it's like this mulled wine berry shade. Yeah, this is Tree Skirt. They make these very difficult to read. But look at the color and the shine. This is what I love about indie eyeshadow. Right there. Like that's a color that almost any brand could do. But with that richness and that depth and that shine, and then you've got this like fractal quality that just twinkles. This is a brand new pan of Miser from ColourPop. And I don't know why, but it feels like it's sealed over. However, it's right there. It's right there. I love this. It is a just one and done, throw it on, maybe toss my blush in my crease and go on with my day. I was in Sephora recently wearing this and someone's like, "What's all over your eyes?" I was like, "It's ColourPop." It's ColourPop. So Miser is this is one that I recently replaced. I'm not gonna kick it. All right, last round, the 7. This is that gorgeous bedroomized brown from the bottom of the Orange Blossom trio. It's one of the warmer browns I have, and it does what I need it to do in a single eyeshadow. And that right there is the point of utility, and it's why I go and depot these things. So that I know where it is, when it is, and when I want it, and it's gonna do it. All right, this I think was from a Copacetic mystery box. This is prototype number 2. It's very similar to the one that I was just raving about from Clionadh, and I'd rather keep that one. This one's very bright. It does remind me a lot of that macaroon shadow that I decided to declutter. I'm just not feeling the same pull. JD Glow Aurora. This may be one of the more unique multi-chromes that I have. It's just sparkly. The texture on these is so nice. Yeah, you can stay. I will not kick you out into the cold. This is another shadow that I purchased on the quest to dupe Lounge from Urban Decay. This is Nirvana from Luxie. It's the same color story, but it's a little more murky. It doesn't have quite the same shine, but it's beautiful. One of these days I'm going to swatch all of my red-based greens together and we'll get a good overview of those. But yeah, that one can stay. I think these two are definitely staying. I don't know about this one. This is Bowling Alley. It's again copacetic. She gets me every time. It very much feels like As the World Falls Down, but it's a little bit more subdued, a little bit more sedate. And I like having something like this in my stash. Long Farewell. Again, it's that super, super fractal, crushy, but this one's more blue. And I really like this because it adds a lot of shine and it works against almost any deep shadow that I have that I want to layer it on top of. If I'm doing like a really big angry eye or a big smoky eye, I haven't done something like that in a while. But the reason that we do this, or that I do this, is to reconnect with my eyeshadows so that when I decide I want to do a phosphorescent green, sparkly eye, I have it. I have one like really it's not seafoam, it's more phosphorescent. It's just bright and it's pretty. What is this one called? Tinsel. That makes sense. So again, Clionadh, they do make round shadows that are satins and shimmers, and as well as their like jeweled multi-chromes, which we will get into tomorrow. That one's gonna stay. Let me clean myself up and we will take a count of how many I have decluttered, because that's a big pile. So out of those 15, I kept 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Look at that. I'm tempted to just take a quick count. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 33, 35, 41, 42, 43, 44, 6, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61. I'm down to 61 regular single eyeshadows. This is without any of my Clionadh any of my really special shadows from Clionadh. So these we will hit on tomorrow. Man, the micellar water in a spray bottle is really coming in handy with this project. Let's take a count of our dearly departed. 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 26, 27, 28, 30, 32. I'm getting rid of 32 eyeshadows. That's about a third of my overall eyeshadow count. I have 60 something in here. This is a third of what I had. That's crazy and amazing and makes me so happy. All right, so I got rid of 30 something eyeshadows. This was a surprise. I knew I was going to declutter a couple, at least one, if not two of these. I was not suspecting all three. That was a surprise. But I feel better. I love NARS eyeshadows formula. What I don't love is that their palettes are so ephemeral. They come and they go. They are limited edition. They don't have regular palettes that they just keep in their everyday collection. And that's what makes their palettes so like collectible, I guess. But for me, it's just annoying. It's just annoying. And now I'm reconsidering, like, do I want to keep this one? Because this one really did stand out to me as being different. Maybe I'll keep it on a trial basis, because these two are so similar, and they're so similar to what I have in the Natasha Denona My Dream palette, that I think giving myself permission to get rid of these two is going to allow myself permission to keep this one. And then we've got 3 single shadows, and we'll take a look at everything I've decluttered once I'm done with this. I still have to do liners and lip stuff. I have to do eye liners and lips, and that's it. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye. All right. So this has taken me a couple days to get back to. My nails are different, and that cut on my hand has healed. So we're gonna jump back into this. I'm gonna do liners and pretty much everything in this tub, and then we'll do the Clionadh shadows because the Clionadh shadows are messy. All right, let me pull out things that are not specifically pencil eyeliners. Okay, y'all, we have a nice little assortment here, and honestly, right off the bat, you stay there. I'm gonna go ahead and declutter these. These are ColourPop eyeliners that I have had since the beginning of time. They don't smell bad or anything because they're like a cake. They're a gel liner, meaning they don't have a ton of moisture. And once that moisture evaporated, you're left with like this hard cake, which once I use a little bit of Duraline to rehydrate, they work beautifully. However, I have not reached for them at all this year. I see them and I don't even think to use them. So when I started mentally preparing for a declutter, these were at the top of my list. We're gonna do these guys next because they keep trying to roll away. These are the Hindash matte color fluids. And I haven't used these lately, and it makes me sad. So this is Carve, which is one of the easiest to use liquid contours. And I'm gonna have to store this with my liquid contours and this with my blushes. I like the idea of storing these all together, but I forget that they're like the best multitaskers. This is Hardest, which is just an absolutely perfect rosy beige blush. It's been suggested that I don't use this as a blush. However, I like to classify myself as a bit of a rebel, so I use it for all the things. Thorn. This is the one I don't use that much, but when I want it, it helps to know it's there. I have used this as like a dark brown eyeliner in the past. And for me, it's just a little deep to really get my head around where else on my face I could use it. And then we have Canvas, which is, you know, another primer, it's another tool for blanking out a base or starting over. I've put this over eyeshadow looks that I wasn't thrilled with, and it's been a really good starting over product to hit the reset button. All 4 of these are gonna stay. I'm gonna put Hardest and Canvas in with my liquid bronzers, contours, blushes, and highlights. These 2 can stay with my eyeliners, and once I clean that bin out, maybe they will stand out more. I did pull out 2 other eyeliners. So this is a black liner from L'Oreal. It's their lacquer liner. One of the best black eyeliners you'll ever buy, period. I rarely use it because I don't use black eyeliner that often, but when I want it, I have it. And this is a couple years old and it's still really nicely bulletproof. And then we have Iron from Ritual Defeat. This is their enigmatic black orb. This is another one that I kind of forget to use. And part of it was the first few times I tried using it, I had a really hard time with it. And I have since discovered that using it with a rougher brush is the way to go. Before I had to go bandage my mother's hand, I had the hardest time getting to know and get positive results from this eyeliner. However, I discovered once I started using it with a smaller, rougher brush, it does actually work beautifully. So it's gonna stay because I do think of it and I do remember that I have it. And now that I'm getting rid of both of those ColourPop liners, it will be my only gel liner in this color. This is a brow powder from Anastasia. I am going gray in the front of my hairline, and it starts to look a little patchy. It looks like I'm going bald. It looks like I have these open spots. And having this, which is weird because I could use any brown eyeshadow, but knowing that this colorway matches my hair almost exactly makes the process of filling in my hairline just that much easier. I've also been using different stuff in my brows, so maybe at some point I will reach for a brow powder. Either way, this is still in good condition. The powder is still soft. It's not patchy. It's what I want for my brows. Actually, it would work pretty well as eyeshadow too. So one of, if not the oldest brow product in my collection, this is Wunderbrow. I've had this for a very long time, to the point where the lid is all messed up. I know it's not the most attractive, but it's actually better now than it was when I first got it. Because when I first got it, it was so wet and hard to work with. And if I'm going swimming, which I'm doing a lot more of now, then I want something that's going to be really, really bulletproof. And I don't need to buy anything else because I have this and I know it works. Okay, so this is the rest of my brow stuff. We're just going to go through it really quick. I don't know how much of it we're going to swatch. Kosas Airbrow. This is what I've been using, and at this point, I'm just trying to finish it up because I don't love the way it's aged. It's been leaving little balls of product in my brows, and I find myself needing to go in with the Anastasia Clear Brow before I go in with the Kosas to make sure that this coats my brows and that the Kosas doesn't cling. So I will continue to use this. I will finish it up and then I will move on to something else. But yeah, these are both staying. I have 5 pencils. 2 of these I'm sure are duplicates. Let's talk about these Maybelline Express Brows. These are my tiny little brow pencils. Okay, spoiler, I'm currently working on a Merit video, and I do have a brow pencil from Merit that I've been really enjoying. So let's compare this. This is the Merit Brow 1990. I'm not sure what shade this is, but it is the teeniest, tiniest little pencil, to the point where you have to be careful how much you twist it up because it's so thin. But it's a great shade for me. I like it a lot. This is not going to get decluttered. This is going back into the Merit box where it belongs. And then we're going to compare these Maybelline Express Brows. So one of these is in a taupe shade. Yep, taupe and deep brown. So taupe, come on. That's the taupe shade. I do like these shades. I have not used these pencils in quite some time, but I do like them. This is deep brown. You know what? This one is it's too dark. I am gonna put this one out on an ice float. We're gonna say goodbye to this one. Oh, I left my other declutter bin next door. All right, and then I have 3 Make Blade Line here. 2 of these I believe are in a warm brown, and I have 2 Cool Taupe and 1 warm brown, and then I have a couple of backups of this pencil because it's so good. That is Cool Taupe, and for a I was a ginger when I was a child, so my hair has a lot of red in it. And I think that's one of the reasons that this, even though it says it's taupe, works really well on me. Is this, I believe this is the same shade, or not. That's deep brown. Nope, that's Cool Taupe. So the Make Blade Line is refillable, and they do actually have the shade name printed on the cartridge, which I love. So maybe that is warm brown. Criminally. This is getting confusing. Anyway, these are all the brow pencils. I have multiples because I have multiples. I have replaced the Make Blade Line numerous times. One of my little piffles, yeah, it's one of my father's words, is that the lid on this one doesn't stay. And if this is supposed to be refillable, it's just not that sturdy. So I ordered another one and I now have several, which I'm not complaining about. I have a couple refills. It's my favorite brow pencil of all time. Well, when that Wunderbrow says it's waterproof, it's telling the truth. It very much stands up to that claim. These are my liquid liners. I have one that is a pencil from, I think this is Ciate, and the rest of these are from the now defunct JD Glove. So this steel pencil for a black eyeliner, I like this. I like the felt tip. It's easy to control, it's easy to maneuver, and it hasn't dried out in all the time I've had it. It hasn't shown the least sign of being dried out. It's the only one I have that's in this format, and I'm gonna keep it. It's fine. All right, so 2 of these are matte and 2 of these are not. So this one is, what shade is this? I live, I live. I think it's I live. I think it's I live, which is cute. It's a matte, dingy olive green. When I first got it, I was like, oh, that's weird. It's gonna look not great. No, it's fantastic. It it works because I have green eyes and it really brings out the color of my eyes. This is neon purple. That is neon purple. Again, one of the reasons I'm okay getting rid of those ColourPop liners is because I have a bright purple liner. I think I have several, but I have a bright purple liquid liner that is such good quality. I will not belabor my sadness at that brand closing because I know I mention it every time I bring up one of their products. Shook it. This is my second tube of this. I'm glad I replaced it when I did. So this is a multi-chromatic purple to green. What you see as purple, what I'm seeing right now is like a raisiny burgundy. This is Geometrics, and it's close to Shooketh, but it's glitter. It's got more glitter that is shifty. Yeah, it's got glittery, shifty bits. So that is Shooketh, and that is Geometrics. From my angle, these look completely different. And that's what you're gonna get with multi-chromes. So yeah, all 5 of these, they're gonna stay. And it's not because I want to lord something that I have over y'all's head. It's just they're part of my makeup collection, and I'm not in the habit right now of only owning things that viewers can get because I think that's silly. All right, so the NYX Jumbo Eye Crayon in Milk. Man, 2016, 2017 YouTube has come back hardcore with this product. And it's a really good one. If you're somebody that wants a little brightening on their waterline, this is fabulous. It's also drugstore, so it's maybe $10. And I'm sure you can get a coupon or a sale. I know Ulta does like 3 off 15. So this is from Sephora. And honestly, as much as I want to God, it's so pretty. It's that really easy, rosy beige. And I've been wearing a matte eye look a lot because I've been testing one of the solo shadows from Merit, but I need to remember that I have this one too because it's gorgeous. For some reason, oh, I get it confused with this, which I am actually going to declutter. So let's talk about this now. This is one of the Sephora 12-hour colorful eyeliners in soft rose. Very similar color, right? Completely different formula. This doesn't show up on me, and I don't know why. I find myself avoiding both of these because I can't remember which one is the dummy formula and which one is the better formula. This is the Sephora colorful shadow and liner waterproof matte red terracotta. That's not terracotta and it's not red. That's beige and it's pink. Anyway, yes. That will clear things up. This, oh, I love this. It's one of my favorites. This is from Charlotte Tilbury. This is one of her color chameleons in red garnet. Gorgeous. Ooh, those would be really nice to wear together. Start with that all over the lid and then like blend this just on top. Ooh, near the lash line. Pretty. All right. These 3, they're all good. They're all gonna stay. Moving right along. We have 5 brown eyeliners here. So we have Hey Mama, Hey Daddy, Hey Mama. All right. So Cinnamon from Victoria Beckham. I bought this used, and I'm quite glad I did because it's just special. It's this warm red brown, and the formula is lovely. Just a really nice pencil. Feels nice in the hand. I feel like there's a little bit of a bait and switch with this because the top that's got the color and is a little chunkier is actually the smudger, whereas the thinner top is the pencil itself. So every time I go to use it, I end up taking off the wrong cap. Whatever. I'm fickle. It's a tiny little thing that is easily worked around. She's gonna stay. So at the same time that I got Victoria Beckham, I also got the Surratt pencil in their like brown bronze. And I have tried comparing this one and the Victoria Beckham, and they don't compare. They're very different pencils, very different formulas. This is that one that's got the powder on it that you put over top, and it only sticks to the pencil. So like I could wipe that off my arm if I wanted to. However, the powder is pretty warm and comparable to cinnamon, but they're very different pencils, very different formulas. This is another one that I've been using a lot this year, and I have kind of lukewarm feelings about the formula, but I like the color and I like how easy it is to use. So this is from Kulfi. This is in the shade Chiku Chiku. And it's right in the middle of Victoria Beckham and the Surratt. It's a nice medium warm brown. It's not too dark, it's not too cool toned. It's nice and lightweight, travels easily. I do find myself setting it with like a brown eyeshadow, and that's fine. Make Beauty. This is Halo. I love this pencil. Okay? I love this pencil. It's weird, wacky, wonderful. It calls itself a rosy taupe. And it really is. Like it's a taupe with just a smidgen of purple. Again, weird, wacky, wonderful, and I love it. I love this pencil. And again, it's been sitting in my eyeliner bin all year. I think I've reached for it a couple of times, but the point here is to try and lessen the amount of stuff I have so the stuff I really love can shine. And last but not least, this is one of the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Last in the shade Bronze. This is a formula that I have several pencils in because it's a gorgeous formula. It's really easy to use. It does get a little fiddly when sharpening. You can over sharpen them and then you end up completely taking off the little nub of eyeliner, the point. But I think it's worth it for the formula and the way that they really shine. While I'm talking about these, let's go ahead and drag out the rest of my like drugstore or like midpoint eyeliners. I guess if we're doing that, we also have to pull out ColourPop. This one I think I decided to keep in my last declutter, and I don't think it's gonna make it. Yeah, I just don't wear these blue toned purples on my eyes as much. This is L'Oreal Le Liner Signature in the shade Violet Wool. And I don't wear it. I don't wear it, and I think part of it's the color. I think it's just this bright purple color that really puts me off at this point. I don't know how else to put it. Going back to the L'Oreal Pro Last, this is Ivy. I love this shade. I love this shade. It's just a glorious eyeliner. And then this is Burgundy. Again, sometimes these do this. And what I may end up doing, there we go. I just had to get the pencil warmed up a bit. I really like these pencils. I really, really like these pencils. And you can see by the size that I do use them. They have been used quite a bit. So they're gonna stay. And I am going to remember that I have them in the future. This is a multi-chrome eyeliner from ColourPop. I do not know what shade this is because the text has worn off of the tube. These really surprised me. I mean, that is a ColourPop multi-chrome eyeliner. Natasha Denona should be shaking in her boots. They're a twist up. I haven't used this in a while, and yet it is creamy, richly pigmented, and the multi-chrome does very much show up. It really does. You can show multi-chrome with a mirror, so let's... I think you can see that. But yeah, the multi-chrome is very evident and shows up incredibly well. I am full out stunned, and I don't think I've seen these in like Ulta or Target, any of the main brick and mortar retailers that sell ColourPop. I believe I bought this one online. Needless to say, that one's gonna stay. Okay, We have 2 more of these 12-hour pencils from Sephora. One of these is in Love Story and the other is in Stone. Do I have enough? How many more do I have to? Okay, I have a good handful of these to swatch. I'm gonna take care of this mess. And look at that, that ColourPop liner. This is just micellar water. Okay. Ignore the redness on my arm. So this gray liner is in the shade Storm. And it just broke. Come on, Sephora. I know you've got your stuff together. These pencils are great. There we go. These pencils don't normally do this. I don't know what's going on. It's the second time it's broken. They're pretty soft. I don't usually have a whole lot of problems. Maybe it's just the day. I don't know. Mercury's in retrograde. The world is a flaming trash heap. All right, we're gonna let that be. Storm is a blackened gray. It's a dark gray. And with its unwillingness to cooperate when being sharpened, I think I am gonna declutter it. It's really beautiful. It was fun having a gray liner to play with, but that in mind, this one, I don't know if the pencil's too soft or what, but I don't love that it keeps breaking. All right, this one I have used more recently, so hopefully, yes. This is Love Story. No, Love Affair. This is Love Affair, and honestly, I have a love affair with this color. It's unique. It's a gray, purpley raisin shade, but it's not like super pink. And we can compare that to, this is Pillow Talk from Charlotte Tilbury. And again, it's a little bit more grungy. It's slightly more desaturated, but it's still got a heavy undertone of reddish pink, whereas Love Story is more cool toned. And I think I know that they're both gonna stay. I know that they're both gonna stay. I have been using this one more recently. It's shown up to be really unique to my collection. All right, this is all of it. This is the entire bin. This I'm gonna keep until I use this end up, and then I'm going to declutter it because this end is not good. This is one of those Charlotte Tilbury duos in, what is this? What shade is this? I don't know. Mesmerizing Maroon. So the deep matte shade just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You have to really press hard, and I don't want to do that on my eyes. It just doesn't show up. However, this side is gorgeous. I have been thinking about putting together a project pan for next year, and maybe I will put this in that project. This one, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So this is another one of those deep purple eyeliners. This is one of those double-ended eye stylos from Surratt. And I don't know if I just don't think about this or I haven't given it a fair chance to allow it to shine. It's such a pretty color. And I've heard so many people rave about this formula. And with the bronze pencil, I believe it. But with this one, I'm a little bit more skeptical. I'm going to keep it. And what I think I need to do is really label it or make it stand out in some way from the other one, because I have 2 of these. And if I can't decide which one, if I can't figure out which one is which, I don't use them. They don't get used. So perhaps I need to put like some purple washi tape or something at the base, and that will allow me to really see it. This is Nebula from Make Beauty. This pencil is the exact green. Oh, excuse you. This one hasn't been used in a while, so I will forgive the tip breaking. It was probably dry. Because this one doesn't break. And it's the exact color of my eyes. If I really want the green in my eyes to show up, I use this pencil. This is another one that I've had, I don't know if I've had misgivings or I've just overlooked it. This is one of the Epic Smoke Liners from NYX in Brick Red or Brick Fire. And again, it's that really beautiful beigey rose, but the color is a little deeper. And it's got this weird, interesting smudger, and it does actually smudge out beautifully. So it's meant to look a little smoky, a little deep. I really like it, but I don't reach for it. I like it, but I don't reach for it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put it in the declutter pile. I think I am going to declutter this just because I have so much stuff like this that it's easy enough for me to replicate. And after this video, you know, things sit in my declutter box until I figure out what to do with them anyway. So if this really sings to me from the declutter box, I can then pull it out. So basically it's going to go into like declutter purgatory. Oh, I already swatched Nebula and she's staying. Sometimes I give my makeup its own personality and its own gender. The last one is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in Perversion. Again, this is the only black pencil I own. It's the only black pencil I need to own because it's fine. It does the job. So I have a black pencil in a pencil formula, I have a pen, and I have a gel. That's all I need. I don't need any more black pencils. And that is everything. Okay. So this is everything I'm decluttering. This is everything I'm keeping. That was a much more satisfying declutter than my base products. Okay, so Thorn and Canvas are going to go back in this drawer. The Airbrow and Anastasia Clear Brow are going to go back in my everyday makeup bin, along with Cool Taupe from Make Beauty. Don't tell me not to reach. Don't bring another cloud to rain on my parade. With apologies to Barbara Streisand. This is a bottle of Inglot Duraline. This is just a tool. It's utilitarian. It's not a makeup item, but it's something I need to have on hand. Did I bother counting how many I kept? No, I didn't. So we're getting rid of 3 pencil eyeliner. I'm getting rid of 3 pencil eyeliners, a brow pencil, and 3 pots of gel liner, which honestly have been taking up a lot of space in this drawer for a long time. So getting rid of those is going to give me much more space to really get to know what's in here. Well, get to know, but also like remember what's in here and know that there are, wait, did I put this in purgatory? Why is it back in here? You keep sneaking in. I am much happier with this declutter than I thought I would be. I thought I would be a little overwhelmed and a little disappointed if I didn't get rid of like a lot of stuff. But I'm not. I'm not. All right, let's move on and swatch my Clionadh shadows. Oh, all right, I think I got all the liner off my arm finally. I had to go in with some oil cleanser and a microfiber towel to clean my arm. All right, this is the fun, exciting bit. Ah. I think I'm just going to take these all out of the palette. That's going to be the easiest way to get them all swatched. I do not believe I will be decluttering any of these. But as part of this getting my fingers in all of my makeup exercise, we need to swatch these for science. All right. So these are all of my incredibly beautiful Clionadh jeweled multi-chrome. My Clionadh, I can't remember what they call these. They're this really special shadows. They do also make round shadows, but these are what they're really known for. These are their super special formulas. Okay, so what I'm gonna try and do is separate out some of these purple guys, and we'll do those first. And then, oops, excuse you. So now I get the fun of trying to figure out what's actually purple. I have quite a few purple. So by purple, I mean like blue that looks purple, red that looks purple, and then we'll swatch these guys in a jiff. But let's start with these 8. That's the way to go. And how appropriate. This is one of the first shadows I bought from Clionadh. This is medieval. And as far as the multi-chromes go, this one's pretty, it's not the heavy dutiest, but it does have a fair amount of shift. Next we have Shard. And on my arm, it's pretty close to medieval, but it's got more green. It's also got more of a blue flip on camera. I'm gonna try and show y'all the flip when I get all of these swatched. Vault, this one's newer. I'm actually surprised at it's got a refraction, and by that I mean the multi-chrome shows up, but it's not super shiny. It feels a little more satin, a little bit more sedate, which is really interesting. Redox, which is far more grungy and it's got more gray to it. And it's also got a lot more of a green. It's much more green on my arm than any of these, but it looks more purple on camera. So it's got the opposite flip of everything else. Tracery. So this is like a cool toned iridescent neon purple. It's really cool. It's really different. And it's the only one that I have. And it's the only one I need. It's the only one I need to have. I don't need to have many like that. Abrasion. I feel like abrasion has a reputation that has preceded it. And that's because it is one of the first shadows in this collection. They have expanded this collection greatly in the last 4 or 5 years. These two, obviously two of my most used. Grizzeye, I have Pan in. I have Pan in Grizzeye. How exciting is that? I used to think of hitting Pan as a bad thing because, oh no, I've used so much of it. I only have a little left. No, there's plenty left. Look at how shiny Grizzeye is. Look at how shiny Grizzeye is. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. And Bloodline. This is probably, of all of my Clionadh singles, probably my favorite. I don't quite have Pan, but it's worn down really well along the edges of the pan. And you are seeing a pinky purple with a gold shift. What I'm seeing is a electric purple with a green blue shift. And yet when I put it on my eyes, it's so beautifully neutrally desaturated. I don't understand it. It turns my brain to scrambled eggs, and I love that. All right, while we're here, let's do these iridescent guys. Yeah, we've definitely got space for these. Light Fast. This is an iridescent that's got a pink to green. Yeah, you can actually see, you're actually seeing the shadow mostly true to color. There's a little bit of green that's not really showing up on camera. But before I wipe these off, we'll do a mirror test. See if we can see the shifties. Gloaming. Gloaming is far more flaky. It's lighter pressed. And it looks like a light green. It's a bit of a light seafoam green on my arm in my lighting. And you're seeing it as like this light iridescent pink with a little bit of a blue base. Adornment. Another one of those that I don't even have to like move my finger in. I just tap it. And again, it's really sheer. It's a translucent base. And mine is like a mint green. And it looks like what you're seeing is just white. It's just a white shift. It's so cool. It's so cool. They're so weird. I love them. Seriously, I love what these do to my brain. This is Opulent. Opulent has become one of my most used shadows since I got it. I think I just bought it this summer, and I have been using it like crazy. I have really loved it. Because it is so nude, so desaturated. It's like an everyday multi-chrome. You know what? I am going to take a photo of these in my lighting, and I will insert that. If the mirror doesn't work out, we have a backup. All right, Mario, let's see what your mirror do. I think I want a bigger mirror. Yeah, I think we can get an idea of what these look like. So I will go ahead and insert that photo so y'all can see what I'm seeing, as well as, all right, so that's the first, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's the first dozen. We've got more to swatch. I just want to be clear. This is not a declutter. I am not decluttering any of my babies. We're just swatching them because it's part of this exercise of getting my fingers in my makeup. Y'all, I tell you, the micellar water in a spray bottle, revelation. All right, let's pull out anything that looks pink. I love it when Clionadh posts photos of their customers trying to organize their shadows by color. They're just like, you fool. There is no rhyme or reason to the way that these are organized. Okay, here we go again. Here we go again. Okay. Signet. Signet is newer. And it is a pink to, I don't want to say gold, it's more yellow with a flash of green. Emboss. If there was one that I was maybe possibly thinking about decluttering, it might be emboss. Now, what you're seeing is this like translucent blue with a little bit of a light pink. What I'm seeing is a blue sparkle with a pink base. If I had worn makeup to the Barbie movie, I would have worn this eyeshadow. It's very Barbie. But sometimes I want that. Sometimes I want that. Let's talk Dragantini. This is from their dragon fruit palette, which is why the pan is differently shaped. It's more of a square instead of their like rectangular palettes. So this is another Barbie pink, but it's got a gold shift, whereas Emboss has a blue shift. So they're different, and I need them both. Don't judge me. This is Mosaic. This is the other shadow I purchased along with Medieval. I only bought 2 shadows from Clionadh because it was back when you would log on to their website and everything would be sold out. So you'd have to wait for another restock. So I only bought 2, but I love Mosaic. It's this grubby red with like a brownish orange base that reflects to this bright purple that you're seeing. This very bright one is Palace. It looks gold and white, but it has this iridescent pink reflect. Blaze. This one is another weird one. It's another weirdo. We love weirdos. Okay, I'm not saying weirdo is a bad thing. So it's, what I'm seeing is this ruddy orange base, and what you're seeing is this rosy, light, pink reflect. Banarnars. These banarnars. Arples and banarnars. This is Trinket. Is this Trinket? Yes, this is Trinket. This is the ultimate nude, but doesn't overwhelm. So this has more of a peach base and just shows up as like a sheen on the eyes. It's so cool. It's so neutral. It's really beautifully desaturated. I love what Clionadh is doing with these neuter We don't want to neuter Clionadh. We do not want to neuter Clionadh. Trench. Is this trench? Torch, not trench, torch. So this is going to be a little bit more red. And what you're seeing is like a deep rose. What I'm seeing is like a burnished orange. Smolder light. So that means this is not going to have that black gray base. It's going to be just more of that multi-chrome. And this one has like an orange to yellow to purple shift. And what you're seeing is this like deep purple. Yeah, it just looks deep purple on camera. Is gorgeous. Is gorgeous. This is Kiln Light. I used to have both Forge and Kiln, and I never used them because they were so deep and they were hard for me to wear because they had that black base. So you can see Kiln is coming off a little more pink, and it's got a little bit of a deeper base, whereas Smolder is a little more green. And that purple is a little bit brighter, whereas this one just looks like it's pink. Cinder. I like Cinder. Cinder is pretty much Cinder is pretty straightforward. You're actually seeing what I'm seeing, which is different and very cool. Because every now and then, like the multi-chrome scrambled eggs brain, they need a break. And last but not least is Roseline. This is another really weird, interesting shade that boggles my brain a little bit. What you're seeing is, again, a deep purple. What I'm seeing is like a pinkish raisin. They're just, all right. We're gonna try the mirror thing again. I have no reason not to, and if it doesn't work, I can cut it out of the video. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, let's start with like the peachier, lighter tones and move into like the deeper, gunkier blues, greens, really like unidentifiable colors. Okay, Scepter. This is another one that makes a really pretty, easy nude. It's a little bit brighter. It's a little bit brighter. And it's actually showing up pretty true to pan on camera. It's not super multi-chromy. It's got a little bit more of a pink base, but it's showing up a little bit more peach. Effervescent. Again, this is one from Effervescent. This is one from the Dragon Fruit palette. And it is just the ultimate shiny, pretty, easy eyeshadow that is still going to have a lot of impact. It's another easy nude from Clionadh. Coronation. This one is orange and has a gold shimmer, whereas on camera it looks deep pink. Flare. This is another weirdo. So it looks orange with blue to green shifties. It's a little more sheer. And then on camera, It looks bright orange with a green sparkle, a green flip. I don't see any green on my arm. And then Bronze Fountain. Bronze Fountain. This really fulfills my red to green, blue to red need that I have. I have this desire to have just an entire palette of red to green shadows, starting with Urban Decay Lounge, and Bronze Fountain very much fits that brief. Okay, we're just going to pull over the rest of these. Let's pull out things that look blue-ish and then move on from there. Climbing Vine. This is one that I had my eye on for a long time. And honestly, it's not my favorite. I purchased it. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to play with it. But it's both a little too gray and a lot too blue to show up flatteringly on my eyes. Because my skin is so pink, stuff like this can look like it's a bruise. It can look a little ashy. But it's a fun shadow to have. It does help complete because this collection's never complete. It isn't. I am always looking for new shadows to add to this collection. Okay, what are we? Wall of Ivy. This is one that, again, I thought was going to be closer to Bronze Fountain. And it's got some of the same properties, but it's got a lot more blue and a lot more shine. But it again, along with Bronze Fountain, fits that brief of the red to green shift that just tickles my brain. Royal Plum. This is another one that I was looking at for the longest time. I was curious. And it's very gray. You're not seeing a whole lot of gray. What you're seeing is like a mucky purple. So maybe you are seeing some gray. You're seeing a mucky purple with some pink shimmer. What I'm seeing is this purple grayish with this white to gold shimmer. It's another one of those shadows that just leaves my brain in a blubbering heap on the floor. Archway. I love Archway. Archway has become another one of those favorites, most used things that I know if I want to wear a multi-chrome and I want to wear something that I know is going to be flattering and easy to work with, Archway does it. Line of Queens. So I was at the Polish and Beauty Expo this summer and I wanted to get Wall of Ivy. And they were like, we don't have Wall of Ivy, but we can give you Line of Queens. So I bought it. And they're similar-ish. Where is Wall of Ivy? This is Wall of Ivy. I don't think they're at all similar. I really don't. However, this is very similar. It's got some similarities to Archway, but it's brighter. It's got some more green to it, which makes it a little bit more difficult to wear for me. But it's still really pretty, and it's still one that I do reach for. All right. Carve. Carve? Nope, not Carve. Chalice. Chalice. Chalice is a lovely orange green. Actually, it's showing up very true to color on camera. I'm not having a whole lot of color distortion. Very nice, very easy to work with. Very pretty chateau. Solder. I get solder and smolder mixed up all the time. Solder looks, again, it's one of those that looks purple with this very light pink shift. And I'm seeing this like grungy gray with a pink sparkle and an orange to green shift. So last but not least is ferric. Again, super, super shiny. So what you're seeing is a gray to white shift. And what I'm seeing is a grungy yellow green with like a mint green sparkle. This shadow is absolutely bananas. And I'm going to take another photo so y'all can see what I'm seeing. All right, I'm going to get these put back in their palette. I'm going to clean off my arm and then we will end the video because that's everything. That is all of my eye stuff swatched in one video. All right, let's reassemble this. So I like to do stair steps. So that if I need to get in here and get a shadow out, I can. So what I'll do is 3 across and then 4 and then 3 and 4. And it just, because I could easily fit 4 across, but it makes getting in here to pull certain shadows out. Alexa, skip. There we go. Now I can easily access all of them and I have space for more. So I think at the end of the day, I have 37 because I had 3 groups of 12 with 1 remaining. So yeah, it's 36 plus 1, 37. Yay, I can do basic math. All right, y'all. This video was a journey. It was a trek. I hope you enjoyed it. And moreover, I hope you're taking care of yourself so you can take care of each other. I hope you are having a gentle holiday season. I know a lot of us are having a rough time right now. So I am sending you all of the good thoughts and wishing you happy holidays. Take care. I'll see y'all in my next one. Bye, friends.